opportunity for flyers. You consumers out there, you can fly past airport security. Forget waiting in long lines, taking off your shoes. The TSA says travelers, that is, can apply for expedited screenings to avoid these headaches altogether. So how do you do that? Joining me now, travel expert Mark Murphy. Hey, Mark, before we get to this, I want to know your reaction to what the Department of Justice is doing with this airline merger. Do you think that the merger will create higher costs for consumers?
Yeah, I've been saying it all along. It's going to create higher fares. It's less competition. You've got a limited number of carriers controlling the vast majority of domestic air traffic, so fares will go up. Case in point, on the heels of the announced proposed merger, U.S. Air raised their change fee from $150 to $200, and guess what? Every other carrier matched. So now it's $200 for domestic and $300 for a change fee on international tickets with most major carriers. And I think that was a big mistake on their part to do that at that point in time, because it's very easy just to price match, and those things do stick.
Well, I think that's a very good point. We're going to be watching this, talking about it to see what happens and what happens with airfares. It's very important to our viewers, I'll tell you. Mark, another thing important to our viewers is getting through those security lines. And I got a surprise for you. I've actually got one of the cards that we're talking about. That's my global entry card we're showing right now.
Awesome.
So I can sneak through these lines really fast. I just got it. I haven't used it yet. But I want you to talk a little bit about what this program is and what the benefits are.
Sure. Okay, so global entry basically gets you through immigration quickly when you come inbound to the U.S. from international destinations. They have these global entry kiosks, and what you do is you come in, you put your passport in, they've already fingerprinted you and done a background check and other things to qualify you, and you literally whisk through. For instance, I flew back from Cancun about 2 weeks ago. There was a 2-hour wait for immigration at JFK. I was out on the curb in under a minute, including walking through customs because of global entry. And the way you go about it is you apply for it online. It costs $100, and then you have to have a background check. You can't have any record. You have to have an interview with a customs agent, and if all of those things happen, you get approved, and it lasts for 5 years.
I got to tell you, it was easy peasy. I went through the whole thing. Now, I know some of our viewers might be disconcerted because they fingerprint. All of your fingers are fingerprinted. Your thumbs, your fingers, everything gets fingerprinted. But it was really simple to do. And if I can save time going through the airport, it's not just international flights now, right? You can also get an advantage domestically, too.
Correct. So what happens is if you have global entry, it gives you access to TSA pre-check. So if you're a heavy flyer with, let's say, one of the airlines that can pretty much in the past nominate you to be part of TSA pre-check, and that's how I initially got it. And that means you can basically go to the front of the security line, you don't take your shoes off, you don't take your belt off, you keep your jacket on, you put your laptop through, you don't have to take that out, any of those things. And so I can show up at the airport 20 minutes before my flight and easily catch it as long as I've got TSA pre-check. And what they're planning on doing is opening that up to far more travelers with the goal of having 50% of people available to do TSA pre-check in the next 2 years by 2015.
It's amazing.
Coming fast.
I mean, you really are, I mean, you are expedited. There's no doubt about it. Now, is it every airport and every airline participating at this point?
No, it's not. In fact, like give you an example. I flew out of Philadelphia 3 days ago to come to Las Vegas. When I flew out of Philadelphia, I had to go over to Terminal C, even though my flight was out of Terminal B, to go through the pre-check line. So one of the things you want to do, and this is just a general travel tip for anybody, know your terminal and know that sometimes if you already have your electronic ticket, you may want to go through a totally different terminal because it tends to have shorter lines. And I do that a lot in Philadelphia and other airports to avoid the longer lines at some of the main domestic departure points in terms of the terminals.
Well, I will see you in the airport lounge because I'm not waiting online anymore. Mark, thanks for coming on. Great stuff. Come back soon, will you?
Thank you, Jerry.
I love that. Getting around the line.